Girl, we're going to be getting very personal today. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, you probably guessed from the title, this is a very different one. This is very, different from my channel, to say the least, because I normally do a lot of clothing hauls, etc. This video is going to be those that are expecting a new baby, or actually, if you're actually curious to find out what it's like to be pregnant, then this is video for you. If you're a bit nosy, you know, this video is probably for everyone actually. Without further ado, let's just get on into the video. Number one, morning sickness. So morning sickness is not, I don't even know why it's called morning sickness, because it's not just morning, you know, it's everywhere, it's all the time. Some people can get it from the first time that they fall pregnant up until the last day when they give birth. Some people can have it just for the first trimester, some people can have it not at all. Sickness is not just for morning, you know, sickness is all the time. I remember that I was working and one day I was on the bus on the way home and I was like, my stomach's going, my stomach's going, my stomach's going, like, I'm gonna need to be sick. And this is like 7 o'clock in the evening, so you know, it's very, very different. Morning sickness doesn't necessarily mean just throwing up. It could just be feeling sick. Nausea, that's the word, nausea. And I was the worst for it. I wasn't someone that would just throw up. I would be someone that would just feel sick. Fun fact, I hide that curtain because I really hate it. It reminds me of a hospital curtain. Need to get it changed. I hide it and it just drops. But it's just going to have to do for the video now. I used to eat so many things to try and like stop myself from feeling sick. The one thing that curbed my horrible sicky feeling was actually Monster Munch pickled onion crisps, and now I can't eat it till this day. I kid you not. I used to wake up and the first thing I would eat is pickled onion Monster Munch because I used to feel so sick, and I must have had about 5 bags a day, and that was probably the only thing I used to eat. And Quavers, but I still love Quavers, but Quavers used to kind of curve it, and oranges used to a bit, but Monster Munch pickled onion, but it's not good for the breath, you know. These girlies here, they hurt. They hurt. I found out that I was pregnant. Well, obviously I took a test and that's how I found out. There was something just not quite right with my body. I felt like they had been punched 1,000 upon 1,000 upon 1,000 a time, and they felt like they were just, what's that thing, you know, that boxers do, the dooga 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 dooga. It felt like someone had done that on me. I remember waking up in the middle of the night crying my eyes out because it was that painful. You see all of these influencers and celebrities glamorize pregnancy, and yes, you know, women look beautiful pregnant. I did dress up a lot, you know, not everything is negative in this video. There are some positives. Like, I felt beautiful, but that was like after the first trimester. The first trimester was the worst for me, and it normally is for a lot of people. The second trimester, that was when I felt like I was glowing, which is the thing that people use, and it is true. Obviously there are some hiccups along the way. Super hormonal, like that is a given. You know, when people say I'm PMSing, it's kind of like that, but 10 times worse. I remember crying all the time, crying constantly. I was just crying all the time. Sometimes I just had no idea why. Yeah, there was just things that I couldn't really explain myself. Even to this day, I cannot explain why I felt that way, because I felt like I was a completely different person when I was pregnant. Just like a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings that I never really thought I had. I know that sounds really weird. By the way, if my hair looks a mess, it's because I didn't brush it. I wasn't necessarily an angry person during pregnancy. I know like some women can be a bit, you know, but for me, I felt like I was very just emotional, maybe irritable. I would get irritated very easily, and there was little things though, and I think a lot of people can probably relate, even if you're not pregnant. There was things where I would drop something on the floor by accident. So I was shopping in Sainsbury's, bearing in mind I was like last trimester, 34 weeks pregnant, and I would say up until the last day, pretty much I was doing walking, I was exercising. The pregnancy that I had is what women dream to have, you know. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but personally for me, I did feel like my pregnancy was quite easy for me, but there was, like I said, a lot of hiccup along the way. So like I was saying, irritated. So I was shopping in Sainsbury's or whenever I was doing my weekly shop, and I dropped something. Being 34 weeks pregnant, I'm big, you know, I got a big belly, you can't bend down. And there's this person, he just looked at me and I was like, oh, okay. I do feel like those little things made me angry. I was always tired from day one till now. So difficult, like when someone is not pregnant, it's very difficult to explain to someone the extreme tiredness that you feel. There was nights that I would come home from work, I would eat dinner and I'd fall asleep at 8 o'clock, and my alarm will go off at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I am exhausted. I feel like I have not slept, and I would, kid you not, just snooze my alarm. It got to the point where I was running late for work. I had to get an Uber to work nearly every single day, and even then I was just exhausted. Like, it doesn't matter how much sleep I got, I was exhausted. This is another one that not a lot of people actually talk about, and it's not, I never knew it was a thing until I remember speaking to my mum, and I was like, Mum, like, this is happening to me, like, is this normal? And she was like, yeah, no, it happens all the time. And this is I don't know why I feel awkward saying this, it's just a weird name, but this one is your areolas will darken, which, if you don't know what that is the centre bit of your booby areas. It's just, they just went super dark, just really dark. I was looking at it and I was like, wow, okay. I don't know why, because not only do they get dark, they get bigger as well, so they grow in size. I'm not sure why that is. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, that's another one. That's a thing that not a lot of people talk about, so yeah, super weird. So this one I don't think is necessarily for everyone, but for me, so I'm speaking of personal experience, was food that I despised I ended up really loving, and food that I ended up loving I didn't necessarily like anymore. I used to be a massive savoury person. I would crave pizzas, I would crave burgers and everything like that. But when I was pregnant, it was completely the opposite way. Like, I didn't want a pizza, I didn't want a burger, I wanted donuts, I wanted cookies. Donuts was probably my biggest craving when I was pregnant. I never liked broccoli, I never liked spinach, I never liked cabbage or anything, but stuff like that I really enjoyed when I was pregnant. And again, even till this day, I do eat it now. And a lot of that has to do with, obviously, like your senses change, all because of hormones and everything. Speaking about hormones, another thing would be, obviously, your sense of smell heightens. I think this is quite a well-known thing, because even I knew this before I was pregnant, but like, your sense of smell heightens dramatically. Before I was pregnant, and even now, and when I was pregnant, I really despised coffee. I don't like the smell of it, I don't like the taste of it. But when I was pregnant, the smell was like, I could smell it constantly. And bearing in mind, I was working in an office and a lot of people like their coffee, so me going in an office where people were just drinking coffee, you can imagine what that done to my little stomach, you know? Like, it weren't great. Also, about your senses, I found that my hearing became very prominent. I don't know if this is a thing that people experience, but I kind of felt like I could hear things really well. Apparently, it's common for women to be like very light sleepers when they're pregnant, and that is because your body is preparing you for having a child. You know, when you're sleeping and stuff, you can wake up to their cries, you can just hear them from a mile away, basically. And I think that has a lot to do with about mothers' instincts and stuff like that. Like, that was a weird one. I remember I couldn't sleep at all. So that's another one, was insomnia. I can never say this word. Everyone takes a mick out of me. Insomnia. I had terrible insomnia. I couldn't sleep, basically. I would say it occurred halfway through my 3rd trimester, and I remember crying because I couldn't sleep. Like, my body was exhausted, my brain was exhausted, I couldn't think, I couldn't speak properly because I was that tired. Braxton Hicks. So this isn't a thing that I was ever told about. I didn't even know what it was. I had an app, actually. I'll pop that up on the screen and I'll let you know the app on the screen. I think it's called like Pregnancy Plus or something. And it does actually let you know the symptoms that you're going to be experiencing during that trimester or during that week. So Braxton Hicks is one, and this occurs mainly in the last trimester. And that's just your body. It's almost like fake contractions. So I remember my belly just getting super, super hard. Like, the muscles would contract. So it would just go super hard. It would like really like get hard, and then it would just stop. It's really hard to explain. It would like stick out. It would just really go rock hard, and it would like go super tight, really like, yeah, and it was just really uncomfortable. I remember it hurting and I was like, oh my god, that hurts. I was really bad at this, and this is, you forget everything that you're about to say. I remember just being in mid-sentence and my head would just go blank, and I was like, what was I meant to say? And I would get so angry because I'll be in mid-conversation. I remember this, my boyfriend could vouch for me. I remember having conversations with him and I'm hoping he's understanding what I'm saying, and then when I can't finish off my sentence and I go, come on, like, what was I saying, like, that word, and he's looking at me like, I don't know. And then I'd get so annoyed, and I'm like, how do you not know what I'm talking about? That's called baby brain, and that never comes back. You can't finish your sentences, you can't even remember what you was going to do. Like, there was weird stuff I did. I would put containers in the microwave, sharp, and they used to explode in the microwave. You know, I used to do some weird things, and I have no idea why. I can't tell you why. And even now, I struggle to get my sentences together. my brain is mush. This was an early symptom that I had. This was before I knew I was pregnant, but this is why I kind of took a test, because I just felt like things weren't right. So you know how I explained about, you know, my girls, my BBs, they really hurt. I remember waking up crying. Another one was I would wake up, and I'm not even joking, in hot sweats. Like I had really bad night sweats, and this was for like a week, and it literally just felt like I was showering in my sweat. I know, that's disgusting. So another one is severe anxiety. I don't think this necessarily goes away, because I would say that my anxiety has increased ever since I've had a child, like even now. And I think that a lot has to do with, you know, you want to keep them safe, you want to be the best parent that you possibly can. In this sense, anxiety during pregnancy, I think it's just the fear of not knowing what's going to happen, the fear of like giving birth. Like that was my biggest fear. I was terrified of giving birth, like absolutely terrified. I would cry, I would panic, I would be worried that, oh, I might need a cesarean, it's not going to be natural, or I'm going to be in absolute pain, or, you know, the baby won't be able to come out. Like I had severe anxiety in regards to that. Oh, this one, I didn't get it. To be fair, I didn't get this as much, but I did get it a lot. I think it was in my second trimester, I believe, and this was like constipation, like severe trapped wind. And I just remember being like hunched over the countertop in the kitchen crying my eyes out because I was in so much pain. I didn't get it a lot, thankfully. I was very lucky in the sense that I didn't get them, but it is very common to a lot of women that they do experience this. So if you are one of those, I am so sorry. I know it's not very nice. This is one, and I'm not gonna lie, like this is one that I had the most problems with, and I would say this is probably, like I said, like my pregnancy was quite smooth sailing, but there were a couple of things that I went through that I would say was very horrible. And one of this is I had severe headaches and dizziness. I remember going into A&E and they said it was nothing, you know, my blood levels were fine, my blood pressure, my sugar levels, everything was fine. I was completely normal, but they just, I can't really explain why I had these severe headaches and dizziness, but the headaches caused the dizziness. I didn't randomly become dizzy. Like I was in so much pain that I would have migraines, I would say, for like a week straight. I remember being at work and I had the biggest headache. I literally lost my balance and fell into the cabinets at work and stuff. Luckily I was fine. Like I didn't hurt myself, but I just like lost my balance and just fell in there, or I would just couldn't walk in a straight line. And at one point, at the time, me and my boyfriend wasn't living together. I had my own flat, you know, like he wasn't allowed to move in because it was renting apartments. But at the time, he was living back with his parents still, and I was meant to be going home that night, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. I remember him taking me home to his, and he had to carry me into his house because I was crying. The light was so bad that I had to cover my eyes, and he was carrying me in, and he just put me into the bedroom. So this is another one, and this one is hemorrhoids. Yeah, not pleasant, not nice. A lot of that has to do with just the pressure down there. So you get hemorrhoids. There's not really much to say about it, and it is literally just about pressure. A lot of women get it. I would say most women get it. If you don't get it, you're very lucky. I didn't have it until the very end of my pregnancy, but that was because obviously I was at my heaviest. My baby had dropped, so that meant I was due for, you know, to give birth, and the pressure just made me have it. Not pleasant, not nice. They hurt, but it is what it is, you know. Another one is leg cramps, and this is one that I suffered a lot from. I had a lot of leg cramps in my calf, and that wasn't pleasant at all. And a lot of the time that occurred in the middle of the night, I would just cramp up. My boyfriend was sleeping next to me, and he would literally have to pull my leg because I would be screaming. I would wake up screaming in absolute pain. I don't know if that's because of a lot of pressure on your body, a lot of pressure on your muscles from carrying a baby. Hydration, I would say that could be a big factor, but I was drinking 3 litres, nearly 3 litres a day. So another one is restless leg syndromes. This isn't a common or known thing. I can't really explain it. It was literally, I would be sitting and my legs would just like twitch, like they would just do some twitching thing. It feels like there's something like in your legs, really weird, and it just like tingles and like itchy, and you want to get rid of it but you can't, and then that's why your legs twitch, and it's really weird. So another one is that you might actually get really bad acne, or your skin can completely clear up. When I first got pregnant, my skin wasn't the greatest. I suffered a lot from congestions, like just a lot of under the skin texture. I've always kind of had quite good skin, like even through puberty. Like I never really used to break out. I used to get like cystic breakouts every now and then, but I never used to get a lot of breakouts. But when I first got pregnant, my skin just literally had had so many underskin spots. It was just very textured. Every now and then I have like a little few whiteheads pop up and stuff, but nothing dramatic. I know some people like literally get really bad breakouts. They get bad acne, but then after a while I noticed like my skin was the best it has ever been. And a lot of the time that is because when you're pregnant, your skin has like a higher cell turnover. I didn't use a lot of my exfoliating acids on my skin because when I was pregnant, really weird, but my skin was super sensitive to so many things. Even now, like I used to use salicylic acid on little like breakouts on my face or just more clogged pores. It used to work, and then I got pregnant and my skin came out in hives. I had like bumped and raised skin, like very itchy. It was just horrible. I never used it during pregnancy. I was like, do you know what, I'm not going to. Obviously my skin is super sensitive. And then after pregnancy I still can't use it. Like I come up with a lot of hives. So my skin completely changed after being pregnant. You might wet yourself. That was because of pressure and sneezing. Like there's some times where I sneeze. I was like, that's completely normal. There's a couple more which I'm not gonna go into too much, but the last three is, so one of them is bad teeth and gums, and that's why a lot of people recommend that you do go to the dentist a lot of the time. You do get free dental care, which is whilst you're pregnant, and I think a year or 2 years after you've given birth, just because of all the hormones and stuff. Like your gums might bleed a lot, and that has nothing to do with your hygiene and you're not looking after yourself. It just has a lot to do with being pregnant. So a lot of the time a lot of people might get really bad teeth during pregnancy, a lot of pain in their teeth, bleeding gums, and that's why that you should always go to the dentist a lot of the time, just purely because of that. Another one is you might actually suffer from itchy skin, which is a really weird one that I had. I had really itchy palms. I had an itchy stomach, obviously, because I was stretching. My belly did stretch, and this is so annoying because I genuinely thought I would go throughout my whole pregnancy without stretch marks. I got it 2 weeks before I gave birth, the last 2 weeks, and apparently that is quite common that you gain the stretch marks up until right at the end. I oiled my stomach all the time. I lotioned my stomach all the time, and anything I did, I don't think stopped myself from getting stretch marks. When you're pregnant, stretch marks look quite bad, but after pregnancy they don't look as bad anymore. Like I'm going to show you my stomach, which is going to be super weird, but if you see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, like I have a stretch marks here, a couple here, if you can see, but they're not actually that bad, you know. But when I was pregnant, they look bad. Like they were really red, super stretched, but that is just because your belly has stretched. So your belly's like out here, so your skin is stretched, so it just looks more bigger than what it actually is. Once you give birth, like the stretch marks are not bad at all. Just make sure that you still oil up and do everything that you can afterwards, because you can get quite dry skin as well. And last but not least, I'm gonna say this one is you might fart a lot, and that is a thing. I used to be very like awkward with that in front of my boyfriend and stuff, and I kid you not, which is super weird, the first time that I ever did was when I was pregnant. He was sat at my place, and I remember walking from my bedroom to the front room, and it just happened. He was cracking up because I've never ever done that before, but then ever since then I just thought it's nothing. So now I do it whenever I want. Anyways, that's it for the video. I know this was completely different for my channel. I hope you enjoyed it, whether you are expecting, whether you have already had your child, or whether you're just nosy and you actually just want to know what it's like to be pregnant. Don't let this put you off. It is completely normal. So many, nearly every woman has experienced more than one of these symptoms. I'm just going to put it out there. I hope you did like this video. I know it's different. If you did like this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, smash that bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. But anyways, yeah, I hope you stick around, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.